It's April 25th, 2023. Varrel, a largely unknown team from Japan, managed to execute one of, if not the best rush in Siege history. And they stole it from a YouTuber. In order to fully appreciate and understand this strategy, we need to learn its origins. In my quest for knowledge, I had to go digging deep into the archives, all the way back to late 2018.
But I like seeing new Clubhouse quite a bit and the way teams are playing it different ways.
It's a neat map, and because it is pretty much new, you get to see some new stuff on it.
Yeah.
And you can always appreciate new stuff in Siege, and it's one of the most interesting and invigorating things to see in the esports world.
Vitality and Secret were the first two teams from EU to compete on Clubhouse since the addition of Maverick, and surprisingly, he slipped through the ban phase. Before the discovery of Maverick tricking, teams were hyper-focused on countering Bandit, an extremely popular pick on Clubhouse, as this was prior to the introduction of Kaid. The timing and execution here from Team Secret is obviously sloppy, with Thermite exposing himself to the angle created by Maverick and the Bandit batteries still standing. It would only be a matter of time until defenders built the confidence to counter these angles, forcing the attack to further innovate with a focus on CCTV pressure. Fast forward a couple of weeks and defenders are already gaining enough confidence to hard counter Maverick with nitro cells.
Then Aces is going to Oh! Arena with a C4 through the Maverick hole.
In this example, Aces is playing Thermite, so cannot afford to overpeak the breach. Neo on the left rappel only has a limited line of sight, and Fnatic do not have a player on Vent's window, allowing the Bandit to safely sit inside of CCTV and lob a nitro cell towards the breach. Going forward, the attack needs to find a more effective method to pressure this position. It took until 2019 for the first notable integration of Glaz into this strategy, at least that I could find before going insane. The Glaz in this case, Shin, plays on the Kennel's rappel with the rifle in hand, protecting the Thermite, placing exothermic on the breach whilst upside down. Most notably, Glaz pockets his smokes during this entire play, allowing the defenders inside of CCTV to once again find themselves in playmaking positions. But this was all about to change. On October 10th, 2018, former pro player turned coach Nico helped pioneer a trick alongside ex-pro Wildman to open walls with Maverick in combination with a buck or sledge, removing the need for Thermite entirely. This would enter the mainstream with Coconut Bra unveiling the trick in a video which has now amassed 190,000 views. It took a little while for this approach to become meta. Even several months later during Six Invitational 2019, it was a niche strat that the top teams were still hesitant to employ.
But again, it's just, it depends on what you want to, what the hell was that? Did they not reinforce it? Uno will get the kill and clear up the entirety of Garage with the one kill. He also spots the Clash moving in, but they can easily nade her out of this position.
It was reinforced. They just, you can see the red bar at the top. They just did the Mav thing at the top and the bottom.
Yeah, but
the reinforcement.
they Ash charge it. Wait.
No, they bucked
actually.
it. Yeah. You just do the Mav all over the top and then all over the. You see the red bar where it used to be reinforced.
Really?
Yeah. You
How
see
did
all
I
the
not-
reinforcement shards.
How am I an analyst?
After losing frag grenades on September 6, 2022, Maverick was destined to wither away. But in an unlikely twist of fate, this change would breed more innovation. And on February 6th, 2023, Maverick and his blowtorch went full circle, back to his original intention of creating lines of sight to pressure and kill defenders. Yo Boy Roy is responsible for planting the seed and laying the foundations for one of the greatest rush strategies and executions in R6 esports history. The ingenious combination of Maverick, Glaz, and his all-important smokes creates a deadly combination. Whilst the Glaz has instant, unimpeded vision through the smoke and onto the other side of the reinforcement, defenders are left highlighted, literally, to a lethal line of sight. Now, this strategy might be great for getting a kill or two, but there is still more to be done by Varrel to build upon the legacy left before them. The defensive meta on Clubhouse has remained largely stagnant in recent years. CCTV has probably suffered from this the most, however, it still performed well at the Copenhagen Major. So how did the Wolves set up and why did it fail against such a basic strategy? Here is that setup from the Wolves, and as you can see, it's fairly default. Make particular note of the Bandit playing main breach, whose primary objective is to deny hard breach on Kennel's wall. And also the Azami, whose main goal is to delay and or deny a default push through garage, aided by her Kiba barriers and the ADS device from Jaeger. Now, rushing through CCTV on Clubhouse is not an atypical strategy. In fact, it is quite common to try and negate a default setup such as this one. However, they almost always rely on rushing through Kennel's breach and then picking one of a couple predetermined plant positions. Varrel thought that was a little bit too predictable though. To achieve a successful rush, there are some key components you need to take care of. 1, timing. 2, vision. And finally, sound. Here is an overview of the attacking setup from Varrel. Maverick and Glaz are the linchpins, stacking the main breach in preparation for the rush. They'll play Overwatch from this position by combining primary abilities. Both Dockerby and Finka are the lurk potential for the attack, and with one on the bedroom roof with line of sight towards the garage rotate, and Finka below with playmaking potential through lounge and towards red stairs. Unlike traditional rush attacks where the diffuser would be in the hands of the support at Kennel's wall, instead the Gridlock, who is extremely underpicked at this event, has the win condition in hand. This operator was also key to the strategy, and we'll cover that in a moment. Now that we understand where the key players are, let's understand the attacking movements of Varrel, what the Wolves will do in response on defense, and why it was a complete failure. One of the most difficult things for the defense to do in a rush situation such as this one is to know exactly where the plant is going down. Unlike a default push through garage, where the attack is expected to plant next to the bomb, a rush opens opportunities to exploit the corners of the objective. As such, Gridlock will look to vault through the vent window deep into sight for a plant close by the single window. The breach will naturally be vacated by the Bandit given earlier pressure from vents, making them wary of a potential grenade, noting that no ADS devices are supporting this breach position. The pressure from the rush means that defenders cannot confirm the plant on the BPC, and the layering of utility which will be covered in the next phase makes adaptation extremely stressful. To offer additional pressure, Finka will route towards bottom red, pinching the smoke and rendering the shield position vulnerable. This is also key in minimizing the plant denial potential available to the Wolves. Dockerby, Maverick and Glaz will remain largely static until the post plant. Timing here for the attack is critical. The less opportunities you offer for the defense to adapt, rotate, and find trades against the entry, the better. Warden was banned by Varrel, so smokes are the perfect utility to layer onto site, allowing the Gridlock to pursue an aggressive plant position. The smokes offer coverage for Gridlock to jump into site and get into a plant position uncontested. The angles from garage and the doorways connecting to cash and top red are obscured. We'll also see the Yo Boy Roy strat employed on the breach. By pre-smoking the breach and then immediately creating a line of sight with the blowtorch, Glaz can apply instant pressure onto CCTV, preventing the defense from denying plant horizontally. Surprisingly, Glaz does not have the suppressor equipped, making it easier for the defense to pinpoint where he is positioned by seeing his traces. However, trying to peek into this angle is still extremely high risk. This utility fulfills the rush requirement of limiting vision. With Ying banned out, the attack must find creative ways in denying lines of sight. This leaves one key component of the rush remaining: sound. This is often an overlooked aspect, but a critical win condition for this particular strategy and plant position. The best way to obscure the plant sound? Generating louder noise, and that's where the Gridlock comes into play. Her track stingers make a lot of noise. Running through sight, Akayu is able to spam them, where they double up as retake utility. As the plant goes down, P4 and Bibu are unable to respond, either intentionally due to the pressure from Glaz, or also in part to them having no idea that the plant is going down. They simply cannot hear it. What results is a nitro cell and 2 impacts in the pockets of these respective defenders as we enter the post-plant phase of the rush. The following diagram explains the repositioning from the attack and defense once the plant is secured. Wolves effectively have about 35 seconds to clear sight, occupied by Gridlock, kill the Glaz on the breach, playing a narrow line of sight, attempt to trade the Smoke, who died, to a now safe Finka down below, and then locate the Maverick and the Dockerby, whose positions are likely not 100% known. It's an uphill battle, to say the least. As you can see, the best the defense can manage is a tiptoe back into the objective where Varrel are awaiting from dozens of potential angles, one of which better explains the choice of plant position. Remember the Dockerby? On bedroom roof, the majority of the round, Kawau is in the perfect safe haven, with the ability to gain information on the diffuser and a complementary angle to quickly deny any counter diffuse attempt. 81% of post plants were won by the attack at the Copenhagen Major, and I can only theorize that the win percentage for this particular system would be well over 95%. So then, how do you counter this? Remember when I mentioned Varrel unveiled this strategy at Copenhagen? Well, I lied, because they actually showcased this in the Japan League with one very important difference. On that occasion, Warden was not banned, leading to an absolute failure and a strategy that was rightly written off at the time. But what if Warden is banned? What could the Wolves have done better? I'll only detail one key counter for the purposes of time, but it comes in the form of Solace. In my mind, you can trade out the Melusi for Solace and go for one of two distinct approaches. A proactive approach would see Solace start a roam down below in Lounge or Secret, ready and active to spot and deny the plant with impact grenades. A reactive approach would see Solace and Jaeger immediately rotate when Maverick applies pressure on the breach. Now, both strategies are risky, with the lurk entry from Alchemist on Finka posing a threat. However, this potential 50-50 duel is far more favorable than guessing the plant position for denial, which is a 1 at 4 at best, and denying it horizontally, which is challenging for the reasons we mentioned before. Keeping in mind that playing for the post is pretty much impossible. That concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed. This is the first of hopefully many more structured videos here on the channel. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.